There's no business like show business. But what if there's no business at all? The coronavirus pandemic brought the biggest public health crisis of the century. It also caused the biggest economic disaster in the history of, well, ever. And Hollywood was not immune. All productions shut down, movie releases postponed, and movie theaters closed for business. But here's what separates the entertainment industry apart. You, the consumer, want to be entertained. Coronavirus has destroyed many businesses, but the need for entertainment is higher than ever. Hollywood has survived and adapted to economic depressions, technological advancements, and many other external threats. But will Hollywood prevail against a global pandemic? Or is this the final curtain call on entertainment as we know it? Hey friend, it's me, Buster, your one and only cinema-loving puppet. Aren't I glad to see you? Actually, I'm glad to see anybody, but especially you. As you are hopefully aware, on March 11, 2020, the World Health Organization declared the coronavirus outbreak a global pandemic. And to prevent the spread of the virus, many state governments established shelter-in-place orders, including the home state of Hollywood, California. Since the shutdown, the global entertainment industry took a $5 billion hit and 2.1 million people lost work. The driving force of the industry, the people, including actors, producers, editors, grips, craft services, makeup artists, musicians, and even you, the consumer. They're either out of work or not earning enough to make a living. People like Riley Alexander, who often works as an actor, extra, and production assistant, depend on the many gigs available in Hollywood productions to make a living.
It's certainly been hard for all of us that work in the entertainment industry with all productions being shut down, especially in LA. And, I know productions are trying to sort of do measures to sort of keep everyone safe, but, they can only do so much.
So these measures are changing how people like Riley work on a project. But how drastic will these precautions change the way we experience movies and TV? Coronavirus specifically has forced the industry to get creative with content that audiences can watch at home. Which leads us to the question, are brick-and-mortar movie theaters even necessary? To understand the best-case scenario future of entertainment, let's take a look at Hollywood in the past prior to the coronavirus pandemic. 90 years prior to the coronavirus pandemic. During the Great Depression, movie theater attendance boomed, proving that people sought an escape from their daily struggles and movie theaters to be recession-proof. Then came television. Theaters saw attendance drop by 20 million in 1949. Each year following saw a decline. Through the 1950s, movie studios adapted, sold screening rights to TV stations, and survived to see another day. It proved the industry could adapt to competition and new technology. As certain as sequels and remakes are in Hollywood, history repeated itself. Movie theaters did well during the 2008 economic recession and even when video streaming arrived. In 2019, box office attendance in the United States fell 4.6%. The average ticket price also went up. But cinemas had one of the best years in a long time when Avengers Endgame became the world's highest grossing film, bringing in $2.7 billion. Basically, movie theaters leaned hard into offering elaborate and expensive experiences to make money off smaller audiences. I should probably drop this off here. We heard how Hollywood is adapting, but how are theaters adapting? Theaters like the Tillamook Coliseum, owned and operated by Sheila Zerngast.
We were showing 2 movies a day, Sunday through Thursday, and then 3 on Friday and 3 on Saturday. Right now we're doing just 1 a day, every day. But that's completely different. So, we're less than 50% of our showings and, a tenth of the amount of people here.
So studios and theater operators are hoping audiences will someday want to watch movies in a theater again. But with the option of streaming movies becoming more of a viable and safe option, will that discourage studios from risking a financial loss on theatrical runs, or will they go all in on content you can watch from the comfort of your own home? Universal Studios saw a huge payoff by replacing a cinematic release of Trolls World Tour to third-party on-demand platforms during the pandemic, This prompted the biggest Hollywood studio, Disney, to take a gamble and offer premiere access to Mulan for $30 on Disney Plus after the film's theatrical release date was changed 4 times.
What Disney's doing with Mulan, I'm really upset and bummed about that because I really think that that would be good for us if Mulan came here. How it would affect me is the opportunity where I might be able to make some money on one of those movies, and they're kind of ripping that out from under us. Feels like a betrayal.
Is all of this necessarily a bad thing? Well, not exactly. Remember that best case scenario for Hollywood I mentioned earlier? More work from home opportunities will emerge for those in the biz, especially in post-production. On-set sanitation and safety standards will be vital, relying on consultation from doctors, lawyers, and film union leaders to safely and legally shoot new movies. And director Sam Levinson may have paved the way to get Hollywood to start shooting again. Levinson started and finished the production of the film Malcolm and Marie on 33 acres of private property in under a month, all while in quarantine. The people in entertainment really want to, well, entertain you. But if studios continue to churn major profits from premiering blockbuster films through streaming services, worst case scenario? The end of movie theaters as we know it. Ultimately, you, the audience, will decide the best way to see the latest releases in either a physical or virtual space. COVID-19 will be the ultimate test on what works in Hollywood and what doesn't. Whatever happens, the impact of the global coronavirus pandemic on Hollywood will be huge, and it could also be an opportunity for something new.